This is nuts. This is a 2026 RAV4 GR Sport plug-in hybrid. 2.5 liter engine combined with a plug-in hybrid battery makes 324 horsepower and all-wheel drive. Now this is a GR. You can see the badging here, and this is the murdered out version. Not only have they added some badges to it and some different fascia, these wheels are also 5 pounds lighter at each corner, saving about 20 pounds. Has a moonroof delete. It's 15 millimeters lower, and the offset on the wheels is 10 millimeters outward to give the car a more aggressive stance. So we're going to be driving this, and we're also going to be comparing it to a 2026 Model Y Juniper. These are the two highest selling vehicles currently on planet Earth. I don't know about other planets, but this planet, these two sell the most. So this is the GR model, and we're going to drive other variations as well. But take a look at this front bumper. So this front fascia here actually has some extra air ducts for active cooling in this. And we are also going to do a 0 to 60 time. You have the blacked out Toyota badge. And then coming around the side here, not only do you have these red brake calipers, the GR branded brake calipers that look great, you have these Dunlop Sport Max tires, 280 tread wear rating. This is a high performance all season tire on this. So not only have they made it look better, they've added functionality to it as well. Now the plug-in hybrid version, the plug-in area is on the passenger side here. So you have a J1772 port right here. And that gives you about 50 to 55 miles of pure EV range. And I'll also show you why the plug-in hybrid system is actually impressive on this. My favorite feature, which we'll talk about when I'm actually driving the vehicle. Coming around the back here, you'll immediately notice this spoiler that's launched off of the back. Gives it a more aggressive look and shows you from a distance that this is a GR model. And probably my favorite area on the vehicle is the rear because of these vertical slits you have in the brake lights here. You also have a GR Sport badge. Now you'll notice it says GR Sport. That's because this is not a true GR model. So Toyota is putting a divide between both of them. If this was a full-on GR model, it would just say GR. So GR Sport is like GR Light. It does have some performance features to it. This has 324 horsepower, which is excellent, but it's not a full-on GR vehicle. You also have this RAV4 font here, small blacked out Toyota badge, and then blacked out PHEV all-wheel drive badging as well. I just think like this double deck lid spoiler, it looks so cool. So we'll open up the trunk as we go to the interior. Full power trunk. Now, the thing you may be wondering, what does it cost? Obviously, that's everyone's question. They don't have that information right now. It's kind of convenient they don't have that. I don't know why they don't, because it's coming out in a few days. But the new RAV4, the 26 RAV4 is going to start at the low 30s. And I would think this is probably a $50,000 car, the GR model. I'm guessing they don't have that information, so that's my guess. Into the trunk here, you have a ton of space. Now, if you're comparing it to something like the Tesla Model Y, which that is in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, this has what seems to be a little bit more space because it doesn't have the sloping roof. But you don't have the under compartment storage that the Tesla has because you have a full spare back here, which Tesla does not include. So you do have a full-size spare in the rear. You also have this carpeting back here. It says RAV4 and GR, which I think this is so cool because essentially what they're saying is that the guy that got the GR Corolla, his wife got pregnant, okay? His wife's pregnant. They can't be banging around in a 3-cylinder. They need to be in this nice family SUV. So daddy still gets to have the GR badge, but mom and the baby get a nice spacious vehicle and don't have to hear. So that fixes that. Yeah, I just love the way these lights look on the side here. This is where you put your gasoline. And I don't know how to open that. And then we go to the back seat. So the interior of this thing, again, they've added more GR features. So you see you just got your normal Toyota plastic, your government issue plastic up here, but then we get a little bit of luxury right here. Look at this. That is, I don't know what this is. It feels like whale fat. And I've never felt whale fat, but I feel like that's what it would be like. So that's nice. You also notice on the interior, it has this suede trimmed out in the middle with red stitching, and it's also got a leatherette trim to it. And when I fold this down, these seats fold flat nicely across the back, giving you a nice amount of storage. Now, when we come into the front of the vehicle, you have sport seats. So you have the GR logo up on the headrest. And then again, you have the suede down through the middle, the red piping, red stitching. all matching up to the sport steering wheel with paddle shifters. And as I previously mentioned, moonroof delete. The other thing, as you enter the vehicle, you have these GR door sill plates, as well as floor mats with the GR logo, and you have aluminum sport pedals, which are all unique to this GR trim on the RAV4. Now, some unique features on the interior. So you have the center console, right? It's just a center console. But if I want to open it, I click here and I can open it. If my passenger wants to open it, they click there and they can open it. And if someone in the back just wants to rip the top off, they've engineered it to do that, and it's fully reversible. So you can sit it down here and you can go get Chick-fil-A and put your dipping sauce here and just eat it right off of there. So I think that that was a really cool feature. I've never seen that in a vehicle where this is removable, and this side is just this hard plastic side. So maybe you need to write something down or eat. This is the perfect place to do that. Now, when I'm out on these shoots, Andrew and I need to communicate with one another, and that's why today's video sponsor is walkietalkies.us. So this is a fully encrypted walkie-talkie where you can talk around the world on it. One of the problems with regular walkie-talkies is people can easily get on your network. They only work within a certain amount of range. This, I was talking to the owner of a company while he was in Japan and I was in Pennsylvania, full HD clarity. And that's because they have deals with the cellular networks. So if T-Mobile fails, it clicks over to AT&T. If AT&T fails, it clicks over to Verizon, and all of that happens without you even knowing. All you know is you're able to talk to someone. These are great for road trips. These are great for planning video shoots, as we do. These are great for school districts, firefighters, all of that kind of stuff. You can have up to 10,000 people on one of these for school systems. I just think this is great. It's very useful to me, and their founder is a supporter of the Gjeebs organization channel. So, walkietalkies.us, I'll have it linked in the description. These are excellent. So we're going to go ahead and start this thing up. Start button is over here. There's also been a lot of change to this center console. And also when it starts, you don't hear an engine roar to life or anything like that. Just the hybrid system gets fired up. The other nice thing is GR is unique to this vehicle. So you have a GR logo that floats on this center display, and these two screens now communicate with one another. In previous versions, they didn't, but now they finally do, and that just makes the whole infotainment system a lot more useful. Wireless charger here, no wireless charger here, but on other RAV4 models, both of these are wireless chargers. And if you don't want to rest your phone in the wireless charger, you can just put it down here, which is shaded and all of that as well. So that is nice. Now in terms of drive modes, you click here and it comes up with your 4 different drive modes. So when we go over to custom, you can configure, and you can change your powertrain between these 3. You can change your steering between those 2. And then you can change your air conditioning between these 2. So the air conditioning is just not as powerful in Eco. I can't remember what they shut off, but yeah, so that's how you can customize it. And then sport mode gives you the maximum performance of the EV battery while also using the 2.5 liter engine. You'll also notice that there are 15-watt chargers down here, but it is an option to get these upgraded to 45-watt chargers, like on their limited trim. They will have that. And then we also have, we'll call it the whale blubber trim. I just love how it feels and looks, the text of this, and there's some storage up on that shelf as well. So 12.3-inch high-resolution cluster here, and it also has wireless Apple CarPlay, which is really nice. And then if you say things like, "Hey Toyota, where's the nearest gas station?" Okay, maybe I asked it too much of a question there.
I'll need an internet connection to help with that.
She needs internet, and she doesn't have that right now, apparently. Yeah, sitting in here is nice. It's a nice upgraded experience. The steering wheel is still manual adjustment and all of that, so that's very easy to adjust. You can also get this with a heads-up display, which is really nice. The screen is excellent, and this screen is beautiful. So I think they've done a really nice job updating all of this. Now, as someone that owns an electric vehicle, one thing you're constantly thinking about with that little criminal over there is charging. How much range am I going to get? Where's the next charger at? This gets 550 miles of range when you combine the engine and then you combine the EV system. So that together, 550 miles, and some of the other variants are getting over 600 miles of range. Even if you got 400 miles of range, that would be really good. So this is going to be ultra low cost to run. I tested the Toyota Camry. It was like 8 cents per mile with gas at like $3.50 a gallon. Let's see what the miles per gallon is. So miles per gallon on this thing is crazy. 41 miles per gallon city, 34 highway, and then your combined is 37 miles per gallon. So this thing, I mean, in an EV, if you had an EV with 600 miles of range, that would be like finding the fountain of youth. And we've found the fountain of youth here in the RAV4. I'm a little concerned of how much this thing costs. I wish they should have the cost to give us, but ultimately they've done really nice upgrades. I love these seats. These seats are heated. You can see right here, we got the seat heaters on. We're going to turn that off. So you do have that capability, and then you can also control all of that through the screen. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really impressed with how the screen looks, and it's fairly responsive. It's still a little, a little glitchy. Here's some information here. Charge limit. You can set the charge limit when you are slow charging the battery. That is really cool. So this is a massive upgrade here in the infotainment system, because previously, in older generation Toyotas, you would click into some of these screens and there's like no information. So now you actually have some stuff here. You can see battery precondition, cool battery while charging. That regulates the battery temperature, will give you faster charging speeds. And then AC charging current, you can max it out. You can do 24, 16, or 8. I bet max is 32 based on what it says here, but we'll leave it up to max. And so you actually have some good EV technology mixed into this, and it's actually appropriately showed on the infotainment. So I really like that. And the reason you wouldn't want to charge it to 100%, with it being a lithium-ion battery, it's not great to be charging your battery to 100% for the battery's longevity. So leaving it at lower voltage will give you some more longevity. And while you're on a road trip, you're going downhill, it can regen the battery and then use it. So really nice job. That's the first time I saw that, and I just think that that's really nice. And you can create a charging schedule for off-peak charging, so it's not that expensive. And we'll scroll through the screens here. Let's see if it changes. So in eco mode, yeah, it's currently showing 498 miles of range, but we've driven a little bit. Now, briefly on the Model Y interior, this has heated and cooled seats. You can also get the RAV4 with heated and cooled seats. What the big advantage for the Model Y is the drivetrain is very good. It's very sharp. The throttle response is excellent. And you have the full self-driving capability, as well as auto steer with autopilot, which I think is very useful. On the interior, space is fairly similar, but overall it stores a little bit more because of the frunk space and because of the sub-trunk. Another big difference is in the rear here. There is an 8-inch infotainment display, which you can be playing movies on YouTube or Disney Plus or whatever while your kids are in the back, and that volume can be streamed to their Bluetooth headphones, so you don't have to hear hear Miss Rachel going, "Hi, friends." You don't have to hear that. You can just drive down the road in silence, because that is your vacation when you have kids. So overall, these are very comparable models now, and I truly love the RAV4, and the appeal is that some people just aren't ready to go fully electric. Maybe they live in an apartment, they don't have a great place to charge. Me personally, if I didn't live in a house, I wouldn't want to have an electric vehicle because of having to rely on public charging them, because then it takes more time. This, you have the hybrid system where you can plug it in and get that extra charge, but if you don't, the car still works totally fine. There's just no stress with that. So we'll also take a quick look at the trunk in the Model Y, and then we're going to drive the RAV4 to see how it drives. So yeah, trunk space here. Again, a little bit more of a luxurious feature. You press this button and the seats automatically fold down for you and fold back up. So that is a really nice feature, and you can see how all of this opens up. So Tesla's design is very modern and sleek, and that may be appealing to some people, but then full electrification is a big turnoff to some people. Also, if you do happen to have a Model Y, there's a company called 3D mats. They make these floor mats, and they are excellent. They fit really well. They make them for all companies, Toyota, Mercedes, Tesla, whatever. And the reason that I love them so much is they have what is called Max Spider technology. So this stuff right here acts like Velcro, but doesn't fray. So you can see, you can pull it up, But if I go to push it or move it, it doesn't move at all. So it uses those little claws to stick on there, but not fraying your carpet. So if you need floor mats for your vehicle, use code Gjeebs3D10 on their website. I just highly recommend those because people will get cheap ones off Amazon and then they don't work very well. It's not the coverage they want. Like you can see this Fitman up front here. They just stick and then they're bold so they keep all the dirt and water inside of them. So I highly recommend those. So yeah, that gives you kind of a brief look at what the Model Y provides, but let's take this thing for a drive. All right, so driving the GR RAV4, this also has a sport-tuned suspension on it with it being 15 millimeters lower. What I'm curious to see is how the acceleration is. So I'm in sport mode. Sport mode. Oh, yeah. So in sport mode, throttle and steering are more responsive and transmission shifts at a higher RPM. That's pretty standard with all vehicles in sport mode like this, but the throttle, wow. So it's crazy. I am in full EV mode in sport right now. So you get a nice little punch to it. It's not shockingly fast or anything like that. There you go. And then the engine kicks in. Jeez. Look, I'm not saying this thing is like, oh my God, it's so fast. But what I am saying is 324 horsepower feels good and it's all-wheel drive. You don't have any torque steer or anything weird like that. The suspension feels good. It's a sport-tuned suspension, but it has a nice amount of travel to it. It's just thick tires, so it's not like it rides rough. And it looks cool from the outside. The redesign is really good. The driver's seat is power, the passenger seat is not, but that's because this is a GR model, so it's a little more stripped out. And then just driving in hybrid mode here, it is so smooth. So you get the benefit of the EV battery, because what EVs are great at is having immediate throttle response. They are so nice to drive on a daily basis, whereas some hybrids can be laggy. But what Toyota's done with this, mixing the performance with the benefits of electrification, it feels so good. It feels very different than a lot of things that I've driven, especially hybrids. It actually punches above its weight class. The interior is nice. It has a 12.3-inch display, and in variants that aren't as highly spec'd, you get the old 10-inch display. So that's where the old model maxed out. Now they have a bigger display for this. So yeah, they've done a really nice job with this thing. It also has trail, snow, normal. Let's see what normal mode is. It's still quick. Honestly, normal mode doesn't feel that different than sport. Guy in front of me is probably like, why does this guy keep going? Why does headlights keep going up and down? Actually, I take that back. Sport does bite a little bit more. Yeah, I gotta say, I didn't expect this to be a car that came out, a GR variant. And again, it's not a full-on GR, but the RAV4. The RAV4 makes a lot of sense. It doesn't cost a ton in the lower trims. It's ultra efficient and you have a ton of space. And people in the US love SUVs. And this is like the ultimate cost-effective SUV. Now, Tesla released the Model Y Standard, which is it's 40 grand. Okay, I don't have much bad to say about it. Normally the drivetrain would be an area where it's like, yeah, this needs improvement, but not on this. Now, the other thing you're probably wondering about is acceleration. It's a GR model. What does it get? In sport mode, I got a 0 to 60 time of 5.7 seconds. For example, to show you what that's like, that's faster than a Focus ST. Like, you would have to be a good driver to get that out of a Focus ST to get traction down. So this thing, I'm impressed. It's actually quick, an under 6-second car. And keep in mind, the Model Y Standard is 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds. The regular premium Model Y is 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. So that is significantly quicker than this by a second. But again, 5.7, that's a respectable number. Out of a RAV4, it actually has good numbers behind the GR badge, which I'm just so happy to see. So that 324 horsepower is working in all of the right ways in terms of performance. All right, so now we are in the plug-in hybrid Woodland RAV4, and we're about to do some articulation of the suspension. This has off-road tires on it, so you're probably not going to be doing this at the county fair, but who knows? These are some pretty serious ruts, so we're just gonna go real slow. Maybe put a wheel in the air. Whoa. And it's interesting because now we're just using full battery. So you have the precision of the electric motors while going off-road, so you can really feather the throttle accurately, which feels cool. Yeah, so overall the suspension and tires feel great on this thing. I mean, it feels really soft and comfortable over these roads. It's also cool in the trunk of the Woodland Edition. There's seat back covers that kind of blend into the trunk floor and up the back of the seat, so you could fold those down and camp, and there's outlets in the back of this as well. One of the other big differences is this is a 10-inch display as it compared to the 12-inch display, the 12.3-inch display on the newer models. So it's cool. They have the GR variant, the Sport on-road, and then now we are on the complete opposite, the off-road variant. And it's just cool that they produce both of those models. So as we're cruising along here, there's two variants of this. There's the hybrid and there is the plug-in hybrid. The plug-in hybrid has a 22.7 kilowatt hour battery pack. So we're actually in full EV mode right now as we're going through this. So it's very quiet, and I love how precise the throttle can be. All right, so we got a little hill climb here. And I mean, this isn't nothing. It's handling it nicely too. A little rut. Just gonna hang right. I'm not
even drop it down in there.
Okay, all
so
right.
I can try to make it work a little harder.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh. Worked a little too hard.
Oh, that's perfect.
All right.
It gives you a good idea of where it's sending the power. Like you can see it started sending more power to the rear to push you across that obstacle.
Yep. Yeah, and most people never going to go to this extent taking it off-road, but the fact that it can come like this from the factory and still be very efficient. I don't know what the official MPG numbers on this model are with the bigger tires, but it's probably in the mid to high 30s on the highway.
I mean, you could gas it a little. Well, that's fine.
A little bit extra. Yeah, you can actually feel the yeah, we gotta fly through that. You can actually get a much better feel for the suspension.
And it's up to you if you want to use the downhill system.
I do. Yeah, let's do that. All right. So we are going to use our downhill assist here. Essentially what this does is this is a cruise control for if you're going off-road downhill. Would this work uphill too? Probably not as much, just a downhill thing. So just downhill. So I'm going to let off the gas and the brake. I'm going to let the car control itself. So it will modulate the throttle and tell us how fast we need to go based on the angle that we're heading down here. A little weird. I'm floating over the brake.
And that sound you hear is the brakes coming.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Yeah. So again, I actually haven't touched the brake or anything yet, and it's just perfectly modulating the speed of the car right at 3 miles per hour.
You can see on here.
Cool.
Showing you where it's sending the power.
Oh, nice.
Flashes like that.
Yeah, flashes right, left. And it shows us our pitch and roll, all of that. And then you have displays on left and right side of the car as well as forward to show you where we're going. So a really cool feature, and it's even more advanced than the Tacomas I've driven. You can adjust like your speed and all kinds of stuff. It gets crazier in those models. So yeah, very cool. So the Woodland Edition, in my opinion, is really good looking. It sits about a ½ inch higher due to the standard off-road tires and adjustments to the suspension. It also has a unique front fascia to it, and you have these raised roof rails with the addition of, I talked about earlier, the trunk. We just took her off-road, and it was great. The trunk has this cool thing. See this accordion effect here, so you can leave the seat back covers on for whatever you're doing out in the woodlands. So I just think that's really cool. The interior is like a, I don't know, rugged leather / plastic, not plastic, but it's like a nice feeling durable material. And then you have Woodland floor mats here, all rubberized. It's just a nice vehicle. And then it does have the downgraded 10.5 inch display or 10 inch display, which is what they maxed out with before. But actually, it's still a nice high resolution display. And then all of the RAV4 models come with this 10 inch display here, the fully digital dash, which is nice that they don't cheap out on that on any model. And then you have this orange center console cut, which matches the piping and trim on the rest of the Woodland. So the Woodland edition is cool. I really liked how it handled off-road, and I love that the plug-in hybrid variant, we could basically stay in EV mode the entire time. Also, probably my favorite feature of the Woodland is this 6-spoke satin gray wheel. It's just a really good looking rim, especially matched with the all-terrain tires. All right, so now we are in the 26 RAV4 Hybrid XSE. This is the street version. This is probably the most stripped down version compared to the other ones we've driven in. So this has automatic heated and cooled seats, which is very cool. Has the bigger display. And then we also have this traditional shifter here. The shifter in the GR model that we drove earlier is shift by wire. So it actually has a really luxurious feel to it as opposed to something like this, which this is manual labor. You'd blow your shoulder out doing this. So this feels just like the traditional way. Then shift by wire I thought was very interesting. We also just saw Jacob and Yuri from the Straight Pipes. That was cool. Shout out to them. You know what, in their honor? Fail. So this model here, 2.5 liter gas engine, this is not a plug-in hybrid. So the combined horsepower on this is 236 horsepower. So about 100 less horsepower than the GR variant. 3,500 pound towing capacity. And then your city miles per gallon, 45, your highway, 39, and your combined 42 miles per gallon. It's absurd. Let's see, anything else important here? Probably not. It has safety features. We have the 45 watt chargers here. It does have the descent control for off-road, and it has the drive modes for that as well. So that's cool, but it's not equipped with a tire that you'd want to do that with. So let's take this for a spin. I'm very curious. This mainly just the power. Let's see what it's like. I just have a feeling it's going to be kind of a pig. It's going to have that cheaper feel because what luxury vehicles do a really nice job of is no matter what luxury vehicle you get, Mercedes, BMW, whether it's an entry-level model or what, they always have like a nice amount of power to them. Yeah, this is missing a spine. It just doesn't have a lot of power. But, and really the only reason I bring that up is, to me, it's very annoying when you're on the highway trying to pass someone and the car just has nothing left. Generally around town, it's fine, but I don't know, just on, you know, if you want to get a little more, the power just is not there. And on those other variants, they're still efficient while having good power. I don't know, it's not bad. Let's throw it in EV. Oh, you can't even EV mode. Here we go. EV mode unavailable, range exceeded. So that's the big difference. You know, I go into EV mode. EV mode cuts off at 15 miles per hour, and I can't drive on full electricity because the battery in these non-plug-in hybrid versions is very small. It's not, you wouldn't want it to be in EV mode. So I think I prefer the plug-in hybrid versions of the RAV4. Now, pricing falls into everything, so we're going to have to see what they actually cost on their website. But just without pricing, without any of that, I would say I would go for the plug-in hybrid variant. I guess no one knows how to use their turn signals. We'll just guess. I would go for the plug-in hybrid variant because I love the ability to drive up to 50 miles on full electricity. So if you're going to the grocery store, if you're taking your kids to school, you can do that in full EV mode, charge at home, and because the battery's small, you probably don't have to upgrade your garage charger to a higher speed charger. And then if that runs out of battery, you have a gas tank behind you and about 600 miles of range on these things, which is, it's absurd for an SUV to be that efficient. So I think Toyota's done a really nice job with it. I like the steering wheel on all of them. They're all basically the same, just with different colored accents. They all have this concave look to them, which brings them up to date. I just think it's a nice look to it. So after driving all of these models with all different features, high-end models, lower-end models, here's what I like. I like the plug-in hybrid variant. But if you don't want to deal with charging at all, just go with the normal hybrid variant and then you don't have to worry about it. The other thing I like is this has cooled seats. My back is not sweating. It's very comfortable. That's a good feature. This also just has the manual pullback on the sunroof here. It does open up, so that's nice. But it's just a manual pullback, whereas on the fully loaded limited version, it's a fully panoramic roof with a little electric motor, and it opens up automatically for you. This 12-inch display is nice, but as I showed earlier, the 10-inch display is no slouch. I think the graphics seem to be about the same, just have a bigger display here. And the instrument cluster in front of me, fully digital dash, is very nice looking as well. So I, like, truly, and again, I'm not paid to be here. I chose to be here. I think sometimes you say like something nice about a brand, they're like, oh, how much they pay you to do that? The only thing they paid, they did have a nice lunch. They had a nice lunch. And so Andrew and I, we tore it up. And then the bathroom that I found, unfortunately, there was only one stall, so Andrew had to sacrifice and wait outside. But he's a good teammate for that. So I really like the cooled seats feature, and I would go with a plug-in hybrid variant. And I would also go with the GR variant. I love that one. It's actually quick, has some cool performance features, it looks cool, and it's still ultra efficient while being a vehicle that you could use for your family, for daily driving, whatever you're trying to do. So the RAV4 is awesome in comparison to a Tesla Model Y. I think it's a good competition, but the Model Y is a little bit more expensive, and you have to worry about charging, and a lot of people don't want to deal with that. So the RAV4, I'm a huge fan. This also has adaptive cruise control, and the steering wheel is capacitive touch, so you just have to squeeze it to let it know you're here. You can see here it has lane keep assist, and then keeps distance from the car in front of you. It was very easy to get it going. It's just 2 taps of buttons, and it was set. So that is well done, simply because it's easy, and it seems to work fine. Now, if you want to see Tesla's new standard Model Y, Tesla actually invited me out to the factory to drive it for the first time. So here's my first drive right here of the Tesla Model Y standard to see how that compares with this. It's a $40,000 entry-level Model Y.